In solo leveling, inside the dungeon, Yarim tugged on a piece of fabric attached to an ant, scolding it while explaining the value of such items. "Vampires especially are worth a fortune," she yelled, struggling against the creature. However, the ant ignored her words and injured her, causing her to fall. Without hesitation, it fully devoured the vampire in a single gulp. At that very moment, Beru arrived, his piercing screech startling the ant. With a swift motion, he raised his claw, emitting an energy that healed Yarim's wounds. Her eyes widened in shock as she felt her injuries vanish instantly, as Beru marched forward into the depths of the dungeon leading his army. Yarim wondered how a summoned beast was better at healing than her. Finally, they reached the boss chamber, where the dungeon boss, an archlich, hovered over its 10 Death Knight guards. The hunter's eyes widened in fear at the sight. Park Jong-soo, sweating profusely, spoke in a grave tone. "There are many notable dungeon bosses, but the Archlich rose to infamy after the annihilation of the Gold Dragon Guild incident. It wiped out one of China's major guilds and caused a dungeon break." His sweat trickled down his face as he turned to Yuntae. A catastrophic outcome was only avoided thanks to Liu Zhigang, but anyone would agree an A-rank strike squad is no match for a boss of this caliber. Yuntae, struggling to maintain his composure, stammered, What should we do?" Before Jong-soo could respond, a hunter frantically called out about the rising problem. Jong-soo looked at the back of the chamber. The undead that weren't devoured by the ant come back to life. Realizing their predicament, he shouts out an order. "Block the doors!" Yarim, activating her skill Sacred Shield, created a barrier over the entrance. As she struggled to maintain it, Park Jong-soo realized just how overconfident they had been. Yarim warned them that the shield would only last 5 minutes. Jong-soo gritted his teeth. With no viable options left, despair began to creep in until something caught his attention. A deafening screech echoed through the battlefield, sending a suffocating aura across the dungeon. Beru had arrived. The Archlich's gaze locked onto him and muttered, "You bastards are the army of shadows." Staring at Beru, the Archlich narrowed its glowing eyes. "Why has the king's personal army come here to attack us?" Beru smirked and proudly stated, "We were chosen by the king, and you were not." He pointed a claw at the Archlich, his tone dripping with scorn. Refusing to accept its fate, the Archlich demanded, "I must speak to the king himself." But before it could say another word, Beru disappeared in a blur, reappearing before the Lich in an instant. With a single swift motion, his claw pierced straight through its chest. Beru's piercing gaze bore into the dying Lich as he whispered, "You sure have a lot to say for someone who's about to die."